Vols are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre, and Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Sunday, January 1st, 2023.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy football season, dude. What a day Saturday was. That was incredible.
Friday.
Well, we won Friday, yes, but how awesome were those games last night?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah, Friday obviously was incredible. I can't wait to recap 2022. Obviously with the Orange Bowl. I will go out on a limb and say this. I thought that might be besides LSU, maybe that might have been the most complete win of the season. In terms of offense playing well, defense playing well, special teams, having a part in it. It felt that good. And I'm excited to recap that. And then obviously some of our favorite moments from 2022. Basketball is officially an SEC play. Move on to Mississippi State this week. That is Wednesday, I believe.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay. Tuesday. And then we've got our most important. We got some going back to our normal segments here. Before we do get into the show, I do want to mention our good friends over at Underdog. Underdog is Knoxville's best sports collectible store with a wide selection of UT cards, autographs, and memorabilia. Whether you're looking for a Peyton Manning autographed helmet or the most recent Topps baseball card release, you'll find it at Underdog. The shop is owned by UT graduates and proudly supports UT sports by hosting NIL events throughout the year. Stop by the University Commons Shopping Center next to Publix and Domino's to check them out. Open 6 days a week, and they have live YouTube shows 3 nights per week. Remember, always bet on the Underdog. Shout out to Underdog Collectibles. Love them. Excited to get to do some more stuff with their NIL nights, so make sure you follow them on social media. Keep up with all of that. Some awesome names about to be rolling through there that you will not want to miss. So,
Yeah. Great people over there. Go check them out. Man.
What a year.
What
It's
a
almost
year.
It was a movie. Did you tweet that today?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. I was trying to remember, but yeah, what a freaking year! And then to cap it off, really bow on top type performance at the Orange Bowl. I think it is. Let's just get right into that. I won't say I didn't think there was a chance Tennessee would win, but I was certainly on the side of I really thought Clemson was going to be the better all-around team. I know the losses. You play without Cedric Tillman all year. The loss to Hyatt. I didn't know how much production would be lacked, and then obviously with a new quarterback in there, I thought it would be difficult. It's not a secret that Tennessee's defense has struggled, and I talked about it on the show on Thursday. I thought it was a good matchup in terms of our best versus their best. This two struggling units went head to head. So again, didn't think it was impossible, but I thought we talked about this too. It's not that Joe Milton was playing for his job, but this game was really going to probably determine how much of the driver's seat he was going to be sitting in for that competition. Because competition might not be the right word now, but there's going to be some question still of who is number one quarterback. Well, I think Josh Heupel and whoever the new offense coordinator is going to feel really confident now that performance from Joe Milton.
Yeah, I think that's that's the whole like him being MVP, like him on that stage, having the game that he did, 3 touchdowns, 250 yards. to 3 different guys, didn't have the overthrows. And it was a question for me going into it because, yeah, we've seen him throughout the season, but none of those games have really been in question.
Yeah, and he's looked good too. So it's not a discredit at all to Joe Milton, but it seemed like Nico was kind of came in. He obviously got those bowl practices under his belt, and I'm impressed might not be the exact correct word, but at least kind of showed why he was rated how he was rated. And with Joe Milton, again, you can't even really necessarily say he lost his starting job because he did get injured. But a guy who had been a starter previously was no longer. And then, like you said, not a lot of meaningful minutes. In that Vanderbilt game, he looked pretty good, but he did miss on a lot of throws in that game.
A crazy stat that I saw today, he has almost 1,000 yards on the year.
That is insane. And he's only played
he started 2 games.
Played 2 full games. Yeah, started 2 full games. That is wild. But no, I was very impressed. And I don't want to forget the defense. The defense looked very good. Obviously still some mishaps, some miscues, that one catch early in the game that Wesley Walker should have made a play on. It's not like they played perfect, but they played really good. And you mentioned Joe Milton MVP. Aaron Beasley is my MVP for that game. And another guy similar to Joe Milton that had to step up. Jeremy Banks wasn't playing in the game. Last time, that I guess was a problem. We got 63 points on us. So,
yeah,
that was what a game from him specifically.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 guys who, would be up for MVP, in my opinion, are guys that were filling in for somebody else. Aaron Beasley, Squirrel White, Joe Milton. So I thought it was really cool to see kind of that next man up mentality. And that's kind of how this team's been all season. So, that's kind of on us for doubting Tennessee a little bit with the guys we were missing. But all year, Tennessee has, been injured or fought through adversity, and, they've overcome it. Ramel Keaton's a perfect example of that. Cedric Tillman goes down. You worry about not having your top wide receiver. Well, not only do you have your Bolitnikov right next to Cedric Tillman, winner, and Jalen Hyatt, and then Ramel Keaton comes in here and, does what he does and catches a touchdown where he makes the DB do a 3-point stance out of his break. So, just great stuff from those guys and filling in next man up mentality. Love that from this team.
100%. And I mean, guys stepping out, Squirrel White too. I mean, he's a freshman. He's a true freshman.
And he looks small, but he doesn't play like it. He plays exactly how Jalen Hyatt was playing this year. Size is probably always going to be a knock on him when it comes to scouts and stuff like that. But I mean, when you're open, you're catching touchdowns. It doesn't matter what size you are. So
truly doesn't. And when you're that fast, you got to.
And he can break some tackles too. It's not like it's like he's got to be wide open to get out in the open field. He broke some tackles the other night.
Yeah, and I like the comparison to Jalen Hyatt. And again, I guess I'm bad at finding the exact right words, but maybe more elusive is the way to describe him. He seems a little bit more like he can get away from defenders. He's a little bit better.
He's got a little bit more wiggle to him.
Yes,
Jalen Hyatt does. Yeah.
That's probably the way to say that. So definitely exciting. And I mean, whoever gets the pleasure of playing wide receiver, whoever gets the pleasure of playing quarterback for this team, I mean, all the talent around you. Obviously, Jalen Wright and Jabari Small return, as well as Dylan Sampson. But Jalen Wright and Jabari Small both got to see carries in the bowl game, and both looked really good for in terms of what they've done all season. And I mean, Tennessee leans on the running game, but it just needs to be good enough, and it was Friday night.
Yeah.
Also, no turnovers.
No turnovers.
Efficient as it.
That's the big thing with Joe Milton that impressed me the most. Him keeping it out of harm's way, and with the meaningful minutes or reps or whatever you want to call it. That was the one thing that kind of worried me, is like, how would he handle going up against a good front? Those linebackers and defensive line. I know Miles Murphy didn't play, but the rest of those guys are studs for Clemson. And props to the offensive line for kind of keeping Joe, keeping that jersey clean. I'm sure the equipment staff really appreciated that too. But it just that was my one worry coming in is how he would hang on to the football. You know, would he put it in harm's way? You know, if he got rattled, would he try to force things? And he didn't. And so that was probably the most impressive thing to me. The overthrows are another thing that I was super impressed with. You know, I think we saw one overthrow and maybe threw a short slant route on third down that he probably should have completed. But other than that, like,
No,
it was a solid all around game.
yeah,
It wasn't
Mike
perfect, but it was a lot to. You're going into next season. Tennessee's coaching staff has to be, ecstatic about what they have at quarterback.
Yeah, it definitely would have been different if he had looked like he hadn't made improvements. And that's Micah said he definitely improved a ton on his accuracy from Vanderbilt to Clemson. And I agree. I think he's improved on his accuracy all season. I think you can now officially chalk Vanderbilt up to weather in terms of some of those missed throws.
Yeah.
Trying to kind of overcome the elements because I thought he looked I don't think he looked all that much better in the bowl game versus what we had seen from him.
Mm-hmm.
But he did look a lot better than he did against Vanderbilt. So
Well,
I
I think also the play calling, and maybe it was just Vanderbilt, so there wasn't a ton of pressure or anything like that. We're just chucking it up and hoping for the best. But in this game, they just seemed to, call plays that fitted Joe Milton.
yeah, definitely.
Those deep slants over the middle, those dig routes. There was the Ramel Keaton bomb, but when a guy has nobody within 10 feet, it's hard not to make that throw. But
Right.
yeah, I just thought there was a better play calling strategy in the Clemson game to fit Joe Milton's throws.
That and I thought there were some times I thought it could have been better. So don't hear me as just thinking, oh, Golish isn't great. Josh Heupel's better. It just felt a lot more efficient to me too. And I mean, we ran the same amount, we threw the same amount. So I'd really have to go back and watch the tape to really decide. But in the time, I just felt like our offense was really firing. So yeah, that's a credit. Another thing too for Tennessee's defense, and I know the missed field goals helped throughout the first half, but regardless, those don't make up for the.
Hey, big Potter fan.
Yeah, for sure. But Tennessee's defense ability to be on the field the whole night and then still not really waver. I mean, that's huge. And it's funny. I mean, we can talk about Cade Klubnik not being all that great in that game, but ESPN was loving him coming into this one. They talked him up so much, I started getting nervous.
Yeah, going back to the missed field goals, I had the same reaction that Chris Burke had when Evan Russell hit those 3 home runs against Vanderbilt. When he hits that third one, he's like, "Oh, no way!" I felt the same way when Potter missed that third field goal. I'm like, "Oh, no way!" Oh my gosh!
Absolutely, it was insane. The fate to come out of the gate. I mean, I like it. It's aggressive. Obviously, you don't like it if you're a Clemson fan and it doesn't convert. I thought it was aggressive. But maybe they just shouldn't have kicked any field goals. I mean,
yeah,
it was bad. It was atrocious.
I saw a great TikTok today. It was like Clemson has the I forget how they worded it, but it was like the most white guys that are semi-athletic that they make look like they're really good athletes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all over the field. I was shocked. That was the most shocking thing to me was like how white their wide receivers were.
Yeah, they look like Notre Dame.
Yeah. It's like, is this Iowa or, what we got going on here? But yeah, props to that defense, man. And talking about Cade Klubnik, he threw 54 times.
Yeah,
which for 54. I mean,
that's Clemson fans will be upset about. And there was a period in that game where they rattled off like 7-yard runs 4 or 5 times in a row. Yep. But that wasn't the case for most of the night. I mean, early in the game, their running game was getting them in trouble. It was putting them in 2nd and long, 3rd and long scenarios because they couldn't get push up front. Yep. Now, once it started working, obviously it was easier to go to. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't just a lot of people want to say like it was just the play calling in that game. First off, it's missed field goals. That's pretty much it. I think it does change the momentum. If Dabo doesn't call fake there, they do get the points. They get points early on because, yeah, that it seemed like the game was just always out of reach for Clemson. Not that the game was obviously over, but it just seemed like they could not even get to that point. And I mean, as a Tennessee fan, I was nervous, but I was also like, there's nothing to prove that they start scoring.
Yeah, I mean, I think their longest play was 33 yards. So nothing over 40 yards. I think Tennessee had like.
Was that catch early? That had to be.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
That sucks.
Yeah. I think the next one after that was like 25 yards. So Tennessee kept everything in front of them, and they went after Cade. Just like we said on what's today? Today's Sunday, Thursday.
Thursday show.
Yeah, we said that. Hey, blitz all night, and that seemed like that's if it wasn't blitzes, that front got pressure on Cade every single play. I mean, that equipment staff hated that offensive line because they had to wash that jersey a couple times.
Yeah, and I did too. I know we'll talk about some more bowl games. I want to talk about Byron Young, speaking of the defensive line, and a guy that, I mean, you elevated your draft stock on.
Yeah.
I don't know about how much. I don't know what that number is, but you elevated it.
Looks like Caleb kind of froze up there for a second. Yeah, going back to Byron Young, he kind of, yeah, he probably helped his stock a lot, but he's going to wow people with his just like, I mean, he's a get off the bus guy. And then you match that with he's, first team all SEC going against 5-star tackles every single week. I mean, that's some team's going to fall in love with him. I think they got a really good player in Byron Young. The story there is, him working at Dollar General and, being at JUCO and, just a great story and, can't wait to see kind of the success he has in the NFL because I think he's a, certified dude. We'll see if we can get Caleb back in here in a second. But yeah, I was super impressed with the defense overall. I mean, it just seems like, and I know Vanderbilt's Vanderbilt, but it seems like after that South Carolina game, this defense just took it upon themselves to be like, hey, people aren't scoring on us. And I know Clemson's offense hasn't been great, but giving up 14 points, that's something to hang your hat on. I mean, it was bend, don't break. They had a ton of yards. They had more yards than Tennessee did in the game, more passing yards, more rushing yards. I think they ran 55 more plays than Tennessee did. So, their time of possession, I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but it was very one-sided. So, the fact that they're, got into the red zone or got, close to the red zone and they kind of bowed up and just forced missed field goals or a fake field goal. Or, I think they're 0 for 3 on fourth down. So Tennessee got stops when they needed to. And, that was the difference in the game. Turnovers, and Tennessee got stops when they needed to. So props to that defensive front, making things difficult. I thought during the game, I was like, they're not giving it to Will Shipley enough. But, man, he touched the ball like 24 times when I looked at the box score. So he had it plenty. Their offense just wasn't great. I think Cade's super athletic. And I think that offensive line is supposed to be good, but Tennessee just dogged them up front. So props to Rodney Gardner and his crew. They did a phenomenal job. And, I know Cade took some hits from Wesley Walker, Aaron Beasley. It just seemed like everybody was, all hands on deck and getting to the quarterback. And, they made his first career start a living nightmare. So, not sure what happened to Caleb. Yeah, we'll get him in here in a second. If y'all have any questions or anything, drop those in the chat. We'd love to get to those. I mentioned Joe Milton wasn't perfect, but I just thought he, had some confidence about him. And I think that makes all the difference. And I think part of it, like him having Hendon Hooker beside him pretty much the entire time only helps. So next year, I know that's not going to be the case, but, I think Hendon Hooker has done a phenomenal job in helping Joe Milton get the confidence, I guess just, getting better at his craft. It wasn't like he was terrible at preparing or anything like that. But, when you have a guy that's pushing you every single day to work harder, you tend to be a lot better in your position. So, props to that. I thought it was great that they were throwing oranges after the game. And, I tweeted that Joe Milton was just flicking them in the Gulf of Mexico right there in Miami. So, man, what a night. What a night. Did Caleb just I don't know what happened to him. Let's get into some guys who impressed. I know we've talked about a couple of them, but man, Squirrel White. I mean, that wide receiver group is going to be phenomenal next year. Brew was wide receiver 3 coming into the year, and you had a Blitnikoff winner in Jalen Hyatt. Squirrel White, who is backup, had over 400 yards this season. Ramel Keaton came in for Cedric Tillman after that Akron game, and just did a phenomenal job. He had over 500 yards in the year. Brew McCoy had 600 yards. So, I mean, dude, if you want to play in the SEC and you're a wide receiver, why in the heck would you not want to come to Tennessee? You're going to get yards. You're going to score touchdowns. No matter if – and you don't even have to start. I mean, Squirrel White, I would say he hasn't seen a ton of playing time, and he had 400 yards. And then he, has over 100 yards in the bowl game against Clemson. So, your time will come when you're at Tennessee. But, yeah, that's my pitch anyway. You 5-star wide receivers that, I don't know why you would want to go to Georgia. I mean, gross. They only throw to tight ends anyway. So, and Aaron Beasley, another guy, did a phenomenal job. Caleb's going to have to go from his phone. Oh, my gosh. Caleb has the worst Wi-Fi of all time. That is fact. So, New Year's resolution, better Wi-Fi for Caleb. See if I can send him this real quick. Sorry, this is terrible. Aaron Beasley, just a phenomenal game. 12 tackles, 10 solo tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. He was Tennessee's best linebacker this year. I know Jeremy Banks is probably Tennessee's most talented linebacker, but, when it comes to all-around production and everything like that, I mean, he did a phenomenal job. He's back.
I'm gonna have to go on my phone. You know the story. You know the drill.
Golly, dude. I can't wait till you're gone from Johnson City. They just don't even know what Wi-Fi is there.
I really guess they don't. I'm very how is this bad?
I hope you don't pay for it. I hope you at least got your money back.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good deal. We'll try this. Also listen. So I wasn't completely out of so I'm
it's cutting in and out on Caleb, so don't know exactly what's going on there. Byron Young, we mentioned him, 2 sacks in that game. I thought Danico Slaughter played really well. I think he's been a bright spot in that secondary. I don't think there has been a ton of bright spots, but I thought, besides that South Carolina game, he's played pretty well. And, he just looks like that physical corner that Tennessee needs. Losing Alontae Taylor was big, and then Danico Slaughter kind of fits that bill, just playing physical, making play on the football. That's kind of what Tennessee lacked this year. What was physicality, making plays on the football, and Danico Slaughter did that. So, I thought he had a really good game, 5 tackles, I think 3 pass breakups. So, great job from him. Jalen Wright, I think he's he needs more carries than Jabari Small. I love Jabari Small, but Jalen Wright is just a lot more dynamic. He's got that home run ability. I just think he just hits the hole harder. I like Jalen Wright and I like Dylan Sampson. Within this offense, I think Jabari Small is going to get his carries, but I think going into next year, if Jalen Wright can keep the fumbles to a minimum, I think he's probably your RB1 in my opinion. And then Joe phenomenal job. Great game. I thought he did everything well, made some checks. That rocket he threw to Brew McCoy in the back of the end zone was a great throw. Hitting Ramel Keaton in stride. That's something we haven't seen a lot of him, throwing that deep ball. He threw a long ball to Squirrel White that was completed to the 2-yard line. So, I thought he played really well. There was maybe a couple times where maybe he held onto the football too long, or maybe should have tucked it and run. But, football, you're never going to have a perfect game. But I think that was as good as it could get with Joe Milton. All right, let's go to favorite moments. Yeah, Keith Vaughn said Z. Yeah, I get it. I have to do this by myself. Sorry, Keith. Happy New Year to you too, bud. Favorite moments, getting past Florida. That was huge. Ending that streak, first time since 2016. Doing it at home. And I know the end was pretty scary for Tennessee fans, but hey, we made it happen, and that's all we needed. One for me is, so we got kind of catfish going to Baton Rouge. We our Airbnb was in a trailer park. So that was interesting to stay in a trailer park. I think Caleb's in here now. Get him back. You back?
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Bad volume?
It's just delayed.
So is this just football season? Favorite moments?
I just did. 2020. I would probably lean more to football just because. But
right,
yeah, anything
football.
you want to mention, yeah.
Dude, I'm back on the stadium. Loved it. Also, I just, as far as game day, I'm sure winning helps, but it also just felt a lot better. Having a video board now improves it a lot. They still don't show the replays everyone want to see. So maybe we'll get that.
Looks like Caleb froze up again. Alabama, of course, you got to mention that one. But I just love how we took over Baton Rouge. Having basically that stadium and that atmosphere be a home game for Tennessee was electric. And from the start, we just put a whole other kind of whooping on them. So, and then me and Caleb bought cigars in Tuscaloosa on our way back from Baton Rouge for the Alabama game, and actually got to smoke those this time. So that was great. And just storming the field. I got hit in the head with a goalpost, not on the way down, just going through the crowd. I couldn't hear it, couldn't see it. And then somebody falls into me and it just hits me right in the back of the head and knocks my sunglasses off. So wouldn't have it any other way. You got it. I gave my all for the Vols that day, much like Tennessee did. So, and Kentucky beating them in all black and just the way we beat Will Levis was phenomenal. And something about Will Levis, how in the world are NFL teams not watching those two semifinal games yesterday and thinking, oh, yeah, Will Levis is better than Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud? That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I don't know who actually – Mel Kiper is – I'm sure he's a bad quarterback and, just his bird-looking ass. I don't understand. But, yeah, I don't know how you watch those two games yesterday and think Will Levis is QB1. So we'll see. And it seemed like it was another home game in Miami. A lot of orange, a lot of Tennessee orange, not that ugly Clemson orange that they tried to, say that their orange is better. I mean, there's no comparison. Yeah, we just seem to make every away game a home game, and I think that credit to the fan base. You give Tennessee an ounce of winning, and they're going to take it and run with it, and that seems exactly what we did this season. So great on them, and more favorite moments. The SEC championship in baseball was awesome. Just us being number one. Basketball, winning the SEC tournament for the first time in a long time. That was huge. And Zakai Ziegler with the sunglasses and the celebration was phenomenal, top notch. Memes live forever, gifts live forever. So, yeah, a lot of that. If you have any else, drop those in the chat too. But those are kind of my favorite moments. I'm trying to think of some more. Just the tailgates in general. I mean, we had massive tailgates this season. Got a few sponsor for a couple. Ham and Goodies did a phenomenal job of sponsoring us. Austin White with Realty Executives did the Florida game. So just had a lot of people come out and, celebrate, and not really celebrate, but kind of pre-celebrate for what we were about to do on the field. So we won every tailgate, went undefeated in those. And then Tennessee won 11 games for the first time since 2001, which is wild. I mean, I just had so much fun in 2022. It was electric. That's kind of all I got. I mean, Tennessee plays Mississippi State on Tuesday. Mississippi State, they're 11-2. I think they're ranked 21st in the country right now, but I don't know. I think that'll change because they're on a 2-game losing streak. But their record is kind of misleading. They haven't really played anybody. Won a close one in Nichols. Lost to Alabama, lost to Drake. I think they've scored in the 80s twice. So they're a slow team. They got some good bigs in Tolu Smith and DJ Jeffries. But other than that, I mean, they're just not a team that really impresses me. I think Tennessee's going to smother them. If you can't score well anyway, and then you play Tennessee, I mean, things aren't going to, they might score in the 40s against Tennessee. So, Big's got to come to play. Olivier got to stay out of foul trouble. I want to see, can Jonas Adu build on that game that he had against Ole Miss, where he almost had a double-double. And then can we get better shooting from, Tyreek Key, Julian Phillips, guys like that, take that next step. I'm hoping our offense isn't just Vescovi and Zakai on Tuesday night, but we'll find out. I think that game's at 7 on Tuesday night. I don't know. I think it's a home game. Yeah, it's kind of all I got. I got some most importance real quick. Also, going back to the Orange Bowl, it's just awesome to beat Dabo Swinney. Just so much fun. I mean, the guy just he's unbearable to listen to. But most important is actually that's a fail. We'll save that for a fail. Most important. Oh, I bought the sweatshirt. The Orange Bowl champion sweatshirt. Had to buy it. I don't know why you wouldn't. Most important was college football in general. I mean, the games yesterday were awesome. Hate to see Alabama win like they did, but it does kind of make Tennessee look better. So I guess that's, whatever. So fail of the week for me is J.J. McCarthy's dad. touching on his girlfriend. Eve, I hope he wasn't, but it looks kind of bad. I mean, it was the poke up the butt for me, like Urban Meyer. So, Michigan, Ohio State, that rivalry still stands with, some weirdos like that. Caleb said his fail is kickers, Clemson and Ohio State. So yeah, I mean, just a bad day for kickers. I love that they were like talking about how, that Ohio State kicker, his dad was like a season ticket holder for 50 years at Ohio State. So it's awesome that he's getting this opportunity, and then he just shanks it. Poor guy. And then Clemson, I don't know if anybody else saw this, but Clemson had, I guess, a trumpet player or trombone or something playing some instrument in the band, but didn't actually have his instrument. He was just he just did the hand motions for it the entire time. I don't know if he lost his or he got his taken away. Somebody said, did Southwest lose your instrument? Which, that's funny. I like that. And then Kentucky's offense, man. Oh, my gosh. This was them against Iowa every possession. Punt, 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 pick six, punt, punt, pick six, punt, 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 turnover on downs, punt, turnover on downs. Man. Yeesh. I mean, Iowa's defense is good, but the score is 21-0, and you gave them 2 pick sixes, so that's not good at all. I mean, I know Will Levis wasn't playing, and they were playing Destin Wade, who I think is a true freshman. He's actually from Tennessee. I think his twin brother Keaton Wade is there as well. But, yeah, I know he didn't want to come to Tennessee based on him wanting to play quarterback. But after yesterday, I'm not sure if quarterback is your position. Sorry. And Caleb's trying to get in here, maybe. There he is. I can't hear him. That's kind of all I got. I mean, did with some most important fails, got through everything. I think Caleb's trying to get in here again. Let's see. Nope. Okay. It's all good. Guys, sorry about that. We'll get that fixed for next time. But go Vols, Orange Bowl champs. And thank y'all for listening. Also go check out Underdog Collectibles. Great people over there. Do a phenomenal job. And go get you some sports memorabilia. I mean, that's what like a man cave is supposed to have. Just tons of it. So go get that from Cards. I got some of my stocking on Christmas. So if you like some stocking stuffers for next year, go ahead and get a head start on those, or just get some Tennessee stuff, sign Peyton Manning stuff, whatever you got. Guys, thank you again. And we're bringing the boat in, and we out.